Upgradability and sick RGB is what every gamer is looking for in their top spec gaming devices. Now, usually we're not used to this being available in laptop form. Now the G615 might be the answer we've been looking for. Top spec device with multiple different versions available at the moment. I'll put them all on the screen for you to view. Pause if you're interested in knowing which versions exist. However, we put this bad boy to the test to figure out whether this is worth a buy or not. This is Stefan from Tech. We spend the money so you don't have to waste yours. Let's get into it. When we were at CES 2025, we saw this laptop for the very first time, and I posted a story on our YouTube channel, and this is the response that most of you guys gave us regarding the release of this laptop. Hear this out. We were all like, it's so cool to have a backplate that you can just slip off and upgrade your parts. The internet was like, I prefer at least 1 or 2 screws to hold back the cover. I was like, hey, upgradability, sick. The internet was like, more opportunity for people to steal your RAM. Who steals your laptop RAM, my dude?
Breaking news.
And then probably the most asked question is, what are the prices? Now I'll leave the top spec version, the lowest spec version, and then the version I would buy on the screen. I'll also leave the links for these versions in the description below if you're interested at looking at them and their current prices. Sometimes we get better prices as time goes on. So if you're not watching this video on release date, you can click on the link in the description below and see what the newest prices are. Now let's dig into the actual review of the G615. I fell in love while testing this laptop over the last 3 weeks. I had some questions as well. The version of the G615 we have here in studio today is the Core Ultra 9 275HX processor model with 16 gigabytes of RTX 5080 goodness, 64 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, and a whole 2 terabytes of PCIe Gen 4 SSD deliciousness. This thing is a beast, and in more ways than just the specs. It's also built like a tank, to be quite honest. I mean, just look at these hinges. Now, yes, most of the laptop is made out of plastic. It still feels very solidly built. There's very little flex in the body, and they've even made sure that the screen doesn't flex when you're opening it with one hand, might I say, as well. Not only is the screen only 5mm thick, it's also the only part of this laptop that's a metal part. To the touch, the laptop feels cold and premium. Even the edges feels nice and sharp, almost a weird satisfaction to the fact that it's not round and soft and plasticky. The finish they went with on the top cover is absolutely gorgeous. It has a little bit of a purple sheen to it. And the fact that the ROG logo is just a little bit of a darker matte gray, and there's a little line coming across sleek and simplistic. It doesn't call for attention. It's not bragging in any way. And yes, you can turn off the LED strip at the bottom. So you don't have to be working on a flying saucer if that's your thing. The RGB band that follows around the whole bottom of this laptop has a continuous rim that doesn't stop at any point, and that gives it this flying saucer type of joke that I've been making the whole time. But the RGB doesn't stop there. Absolutely not. It runs through the whole rest of the device as well. Even with see-through keycaps, which I don't know if I'm a very big fan of. The fact that these see-through keys are only on the gamer buttons is a bit funky though. I mean, most gamers know where their buttons are, but I guess if you're new to gaming on a keyboard, it's something that could help you navigate where your finger should go. That is a good question. Maybe you guys can tell me in the comment section below, why do companies like to make the gamer keys, WSAD, shine or stand out a little bit more? Where does that come from? Now, before we continue with the front side of all of this, let's head over to the most important part of this whole laptop, the back side. Now, I'm going to open up this back side, and then I'm going to hate myself for doing it. And I'll tell you right now why. It's as easy as clicking it and pulling it and opening it. That's all you have to do, and you're inside. Now, the problem with this little move, okay, I'll close it up again, hold up. This is the problem. Don't break the test model. That's the problem. I don't quite know why it does that. It could be a software thing. However, if you've opened the backplate, it has this very nice security feature which it switches off the laptop immediately when you open up the backplate. However, if you close up the backplate and want to switch it back on again, you cannot do that. You have to plug the charger back in and then switch it on, and then it works. So I have two main questions regarding this whole system. Number one, what if you just want to show a friend something cool about it and you don't have your charger with you? Now you can't do it anymore. Question number two is, what if this thing falls and it pops open by accident, and now you want to basically put it back together, you're in the middle of nowhere, you have to do some work or want to play some games, you don't have your charger with you for the day. What do you do in a situation like that? Or what if, even worse, one of the hinges breaks, the thing that tells the laptop, hey, you're open, and now the laptop doesn't work anymore because this feature just exists? I don't know. I have many questions regarding this. We love the fact that it's upgradable. We're just not really sure why you cannot switch it back on again after you've opened it up at the back. That being said, opening up the back leads to something pretty cool. Now, while I want to say it's really cool that you can upgrade the RAM, that you can upgrade your space, what if in the near future we would have a version of a laptop where you can change the CPU? What if? I mean, that is a very cool idea. Something I really admire about ROG is their attention to detail with the other things other than software. For example, you'd think that if somebody could just randomly open up the back of their laptop, it leads to a bunch of issues with touching the motherboard and the short-circuiting things and whatnot. They actually went as far as to add a very nice extra plastic cover over the parts that you shouldn't be touching to further protect the hardware inside of this beastly device. And this right here, this is a battery. And you would be surprised at what this battery allows you to do on a gaming device. A little bit more on that soon. The keyboard is a chiclet style keyboard. It's quiet, it's smooth, and overall feels pretty nice to type on. One of the coolest parts of this laptop is the fact that you basically have a whole rugby field for a trackpad. I say rugby because Viva South Africa, hahoo! We won the All Blacks and we also won England. And did we mention we won the World Cup 4 times? Just say, wasn't me. It's also nice and smooth and it's very responsive. There's one little problem with this touchpad though, and that's the fact that it is as big as it is. Let's be honest, if you're busy working or even gaming, you accidentally touch the damn trackpad all the time. And I don't know how to get around this because I love the fact that these touchpads are as big as they are at the moment. But I don't like the fact that they don't have some type of software that cancels out accidental touches. There has to be something to be done here. Moving on to something that's also pretty big on this laptop, the screen. This is a gorgeous gaming display. It is a 16-inch 2.5K IPS level display. And of course, because it is a gaming laptop, they did go for a high refresh rate, 240 Hz panel. And while this is more of a gaming focused device, its color accuracy is actually also pretty good. It's not only Pantone verified, it also has 100% DCI-P3 color space coverage, making it a solid choice for creative work too. Now I know just as important as the screen and the keyboard and the trackpad is the audio of this device. It is a laptop, so don't expect anything spectacular. However, the 2 speakers that they have hidden under the screen, pretty clever, is also not bad. They're nice and loud, they have a pretty bassy sound to them. Overall, it's as good as the speakers can be. It's not quite on the level of the Zephyrus G16 that we reviewed a week or 2 ago. However, it's still very good. Now, to get to another good part of this video, it's the i9 that's inside of this thing. Performance. We have to speak about it. We have to speak about the fact that 175 watts gets pushed to this 5080 inside of here. Now, this might sound low, but it pushes 25 frames per second in Black Myth Wukong when we benchmarked it with full ray tracing and no help from DLSS. In less demanding games like Marvel Rivals, we got 140 frames per second on high settings with DLSS quality, and I think we boosted 270 FPS with FrameGen. Yeah, 270 FPS. Overall, a pretty great gaming experience if I have to just call it out. I'll give it a 8.9 out of 10. Want to know why I don't give it a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10? Well, we first need to speak about the fans. A very big problem in most gaming laptops is as soon as you turn on a game, it goes into boosting power mode and it just sounds like you're inside of a jet engine. That's not the case with this device. Sure, if you put it on turbo mode and you're like pushing max effort gaming and you're really putting the device under stress, it's gonna be loud. Throw on some headphones and you're good to go. It has a few different modes as well. Turbo mode, performance mode, and a bunch of others. The only place where I really felt this fan is making some noise is on turbo mode, which you don't really need to go into for most things. You can use turbo mode like when you're rendering videos and stuff like that to make sure the device stays as cool as possible. But I didn't really run into any heating problems with this device. The nice thing about the laptop as well is it doesn't boost the hot air to your fingertips on your mouse or onto your lap or down. It throws everything out the back. So you don't even really realize that there's some heat coming out of the laptop. Now back to that first segment we did in this video where we spoke about the size of the battery of this device. Yes, it's nice and big. It's also very thin, so it allows the laptop to not be as thick as they used to be back in the day. It's a 90 watt-hour battery. I played some games. I did some low energy tasks like Googling, downloading games. Screen brightness was on 30%. And we got about 3.5 hours out of it. Now, yes, these games that I played, they weren't high intensity games. Obviously, if you're going to try and game on Wukong or something like that, it's a different story. I would never recommend that you play on battery power when you're trying to do that. It's not good for the health of the battery and you're always going to get decreased performance. And that brings us to basically the only downside I could really find about this laptop. And that's the fact that the charger, where's that charger? Thank you, is, what can I say? It doesn't really fit into the port properly. It feels wonky and wobbly. I'm not a fan of this design. I do not know whether this is actually going to be like trustworthy over the long period. And also it is quite big. It's a nice design though. It's nice and square and flat, but it's still a heavy, bulky thing. I understand why it needs to pump out a lot of energy for this device. However, if you always have to be carrying this around with this, I don't know. Maybe I'm just expecting too much out of electricity, to be quite honest. Maybe it's just me being picky. Moving on to the ports that you get with this device. You've got 3 USB Type A ports. All of them are rated 3.2 Gen 2. You've got 2 Thunderbolt 5 ports, an HDMI 2.1 port, as well as an Ethernet and an audio jack. So you're pretty sorted when it comes to ports. You also get a 1080p webcam that looks like this. Now this is what I call optimal lighting. I have a big light right here, another rim light right there, little kick light down here. This is as good as lighting will get. This is the quality that you can expect from the webcam. Not bad at all. It's not next level dedicated webcam type of level of quality. However, I'd say decent for all of your meetings. Overall, this laptop is pretty great and I can't find much wrong with it. I think the cooling is fantastic, the screen looks great, it performs well even without relying on DLSS, and the extra upgradability aspect of this laptop really makes it a future-proof device. If only we could upgrade the CPUs, but again, I might be expecting too much. Yes, the charger is a little bit annoying and I don't know if that port is gonna last very long, and the RGB might be a little bit too much, but you can also just dim it down. Overall, these are personal preferences and really nothing to do with the device built itself. If you have the money for the top spec version, obviously enjoy that. Even the lower spec version of this laptop is pretty decently priced. This was Stefan from Tech. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I gave you some insights. If you have any other questions, I still have 6 months with this laptop, so I'm pretty certain you can ask in the comment section below and I'll figure it out for you. See you in the next video. Bye.